In this video we are going to talk about the services in Android. Basically services are just like the activity, but it doesn't provide the UI. There are three types of services in Android. So first one is scheduled services, second one is started services, and third one is bound services. So we are going to talk about the scheduled services when we are talking about the job schedulers in Android in later videos. For the time being, we are only going to talk about the started services and the bound services. So for now, we are only going to talk about the started services. Okay, so let's start a new project, new Android Studio project, and let me name this as started started services. Hit next and then hit next and choose the empty activity and hit again next. So leave it as default and hit next. So it is going to build the project for us. Now let me delete this text view first of all and add button. I'm going to add the two button here. So first one is hey, start a service, and second button is you better stop that service. Okay, so whenever I click this button, it is going to start a service, and whenever I click this button, it should stop that service. Okay, so for this I need to go to the main activity.java class and then create the button, two buttons here, button 1 and another one is button 2, and I need to link this button with the XML. So button 1 equals to find view r.id.button, and then alt plus enter, cast this, and for the button 2 I also need to do the same thing, find r.id.button2, and then cast this into the button as well. Now I need to implement the click listener on this. So we can do this by typing this and implement on click listener interface and override the on click listener. And for the button 2 I can also do the same thing, send out list and this, and I need to have a switch case here. So I need to get the ID of this view object and have my case here, r.id.button, and then break for case 2 r.id to button 2, button 2, and have my break statement as always. So whenever this button is clicked, this part of code is going to run, and whenever this button is clicked, this part of code is going to run. So I need to implement the logic in here. Okay, so before this I need to create the another class. So and that class name will be my Android service. Okay, hit next. So we can create the services in started service in Android with two approaches. So first one is by extending the services class, and the second one is by extending the intent service class. Okay, so as I have extended the service class, I need to implement some of its methods, and it says implement the method. So and it is onBind method. I also need to implement some other methods, so just click alt plus insert and then override methods, and you can see this onCreate, onDisplay, and then onStart command method. Okay, so click OK. So it is going to do that. So I'm going to make a small toast here, toast dot make test context services. Service is at onCreate method, onCreate method, then semicolon. Oops, I need to specify first this toast length. It's long and show it. So I can copy this toast here as well. Where is that T? And then here also toast. And just into on start command here, on start command, and here on display method. And we can start a service by creating the intent object here, intent new intent, and then and here I can specify this which class to which services to start. It is my Android services dot class, and just start the services. Alright, so I can also do the same thing here by intent one, okay, new intent this my Android services dot class, and stop service. So in our case it's intent I. Okay, we are basically done. Now the one more important thing that we need to do here is go to the manifest folder and go to android.manifest.xml, and I need to register this class, my Android services.class, as a service here. So I can do that by specifying service and then its name as service, and I can specify the other attributes like Android description. Okay, so let me as the other string, and then description of service. So I can go to this resource, and I can just place alt plus enter here and create a string and type its value as this is a test service for learning purpose. Okay, hit okay, and I can see this text here, values and string. So here's our, and this is our text or values. Okay, let me close this. And one of the attributes that I can use in the services here is that I can Android dot export it, and I can make it false. So whenever I make it false, then the other components of the another application cannot start or interact with our services. So, and basically we are done here. Let me run this project. So it's going to install that, and here is our app. So let me click on hey start that service button. It says service is at on create method, service is the on start command, and okay, so this must right. And now let's try to see what happens if I again click this button to start a service. It is only calling the on start command, meaning that it doesn't create the on create method when the services is already running in the background. Okay, and we can see that, and we can see our services here by clicking the menu and then developer tool, and go to the developer option here, and there we will see the link called running services, and we can click that link, and here is our program, and here is our application started services. This is our same application name, and it says one process and one services, right, is running. Let me click that as well, and you can see there this is our my Android services, as these services running in the background, which is the same services, my Android application services that we have created, and it has the description called this is a test services for learning purpose, and which we have the written in here, right? And now let me close this process. And one of the important thing that we need to taken into consideration is it is running in the main process, in the main thread, in the main process, right? So and this is sometimes cause the application to slower when we are running in the main thread. So that's why in the next part we are going to create the intent services. So we are going to create the services by extending the intent services, which is going to create the services in a separate thread and make our program more responsible. So, and the another thing that I want to show you is that I can also close these services by clicking this button, and it says services is a destroyed method. And now let's go to the same part and try to see whether our service is running or not. And it says start a service, it has no services there, right? So, and I hope you got the concept, and in the next part we are going to make a service using intent service class. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next part.